So we have Professor Joga Singh with us, who's a linguist, and he teaches at Punjabi University, Professor General Linguistics, and he is a winner of Commonwealth Scholarship Award. Let me have a quick tarif of you for a while.
Same time, I'm speaking about
okay. He has actually written 2 articles for us, and they are in our, the work published by Bhasha Bharati. You can also buy and read them. We have Joga Singh.
Thank you very much, Honorable Presidium and land scholars. First of all, I would like to congratulate and thank Kuvempu Bhasha Bharati Pradhikara and the Sahitya Academy for organizing this seminar. This is going to be very important. The situation in Punjab is almost same, with a little difference that there is a quite strong opinion for mother tongue. It's passive though yet, but it's a strong opinion for mother tongue. And also plenty of material has been produced in Punjabi. There's no problem in teaching through Punjabi medium till 12th class. We have all the materials for all subjects. Of course, for higher studies, also we have some material, but not sufficient yet. Also, we have Punjabi medium at university level for social sciences, along with English medium. But my concern here in this paper is the reasons which have led us to this situation. There are 2 kinds of reasons: political and vested interests, the people who place themselves in a better position, the elite class through English, instrument of English language. But there is another bigger reason, which I call ignorance. Ignorance on part of language issues. And the arguments adduced in support of English medium instruction, and English is a global language, English is the language of opportunities, the language of science and of technology, of commerce, international exchange. These are the arguments used. And all these arguments are just myths and illusions, which have no sufficient evidence to support it. I will talk about this, I will place before you some facts about the scientific development, about trade, about success in education, which will tell that these are mere myths and they are not going to help even the classes which they think that they are going to, English is going to help them. First of all, let us take the school education. Which countries are the most successful countries in providing science education at school level? Science education. I'm talking about science education, mathematics, physics and chemistry. For the past 10 years, the first 10 countries in this regard are the ones, only one country of these 10 is where English is being used as medium of instruction. That is Singapore. That also is Singapore. All 10 countries for the past 10 years are the countries who teach through mother tongue, and those mother tongues are not English. Okay? This much for success at school level with English. And you know where the English, the countries where English is the mother tongue, where are they placed among the first 50? If we count the first 50 countries in schooling, the places where English is the medium of instruction, they occupy 3rd position, Singapore, 10th position, Canada, 14th position, Ireland, 16th position, Australia, 18th position, New Zealand, and 28th position, USA. These are 6 countries. All 44 positions are occupied by the countries who don't teach in English. And remember, all these countries, those 6 countries, they are not teaching only through English. They are also teaching in the other mother tongues which they have in these countries. For example, there are thousands of schools in America where, at least at primary level, where English is not the medium of instruction. So, this much if you count the first 50, this much for school education, the success through a foreign language. And then let's come to the university level. Source, okay. I'll give you later on the whole copy of that. It's a very authoritative study. It's not just impressions. I've documented it. Secondly, at university level, none of the Indian universities, it was mentioned in the morning, is among the first 50 in Asia. They said 200 in the world. I think it is not among the 300 even in the world. None of the Indian universities is among the first 50 in Asia. And who are these 50 universities? What medium of instruction they have? Only one or two of them have English medium. That is Singapore and maybe Hong Kong. All others are teaching in their mother tongues. Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and all these. So if you want to be successful at university level, in Asia, all countries are ahead of us who are not teaching in English. We are teaching English. And our position, you know what was our position at school level? In 2010, India was part of that study. And India ranked 73rd out of 74. And the next year, Indian government backed out. Because that brought them very bad name. And they backed out. They didn't allow that agency to conduct tests in India. So this was for the education. I won't quote from UNO and other. Not even a single study could be found, at least I am not aware of, which shows that a child performed better through English medium instruction and performed worse through mother tongue medium, other things being equal. Other things being equal. Not that like India, if there are no teachers in government schools, there is a Kannada medium, but they are not good at studies. English medium students are better because they are being taught well and they come from a social background, other things. So I won't quote those studies, but I challenge, I will be very thankful to someone if somebody brings to my notice at least there is one study in the world which shows that when a child studying through foreign language performed better compared to the vernacular, mother tongue. And I can quote thousands of studies which brought out that mother tongue medium children performed better than the other tongue. Okay, let's now come to the trade. They said it's a globalized world. We have to have interaction with the world and exchange, all kinds of exchanges with the world. Let's see what English, how much English has added to our commercial interests internationally. Let's first see the data. Before we knew, even maybe even one or two Indians knew English in the 17th century. In the 17th century, India shared 22% of world trade. 22%. Almost 1/4 of the world trade. We shared, Indians, including Pakistan and India. Okay, if you take Pakistan and Bangladesh out, it still makes above 15%, about 20%. So we shared 22% of world trade in 17th century. Where are we now? In 1950, when British left us, we shared 1.78 of world trade. That is the contribution of British to making us modern. From 22%, we came down to 1.78% of the world trade. And at present, you will be shocked to know, we are not even 1.5%. We are not even 1.5% of the world trade. And now almost 5% of Indians that know English. English is rising in India, but our trade is declining. Rather, it is harming us. We are keeping all our eggs in one English basket, and we are unable to do trade with other countries because of the language barrier. German, France, Chinese, and we are not learning them. Whole of world is after learning the languages, others' languages. And we are just banking upon English and harming our trade interests and commercial interests. Okay? Of course, this is a globalized world, and we need to learn other languages. In present-day world, monolingual is a handicapped one. You should learn as many languages as you can, particularly the international language. Then, what is the best way to learn foreign languages? That also we should know. I quote from a study which was funded by World Bank, carried out worldwide in 12 countries from 5 continents. And UNESCO connected this study, funded by World Bank. What was the result? I just quote before you. It got published in 2008. It is available on internet free of cost. What seems to be standing in our way is a set of myths about language and learning. and these myths must be revealed as such to open people's eyes. One such myth is that the best way to learn a second language, or second means foreign here, foreign language, is to use it as a medium of instruction. In fact, it is often more effective to learn additional languages as subject of study. Another myth is that to learn a second language you must start as early as possible. Starting early might help learners to have a nice accent, but otherwise the advantage goes to learners who have a well-developed first language. That's why 40 years back, Indians were better at English. Their competitors of English were better than these English medium ones. They started English learning at 6th class. A third is that home language gets in the way of learning a second language. Building a strong foundation in the first language results in a better learning of additional languages. Clearly, these myths are more false than true, yet they guide the way policymakers tend to think about how speakers of other languages must learn dominant or official languages. Okay? Just have love for English, but you should know how to learn English well. This is the worst thing to learn English, to start it as a medium of instruction. And I'll tell you, India is going to face an English crisis. You won't find people who are very good at English if this English medium continues. Worldwide there have been hundreds of studies where it was shown that mother tongue medium people performed better at foreign language later on. And then they say our language don't have the scientific and technical terminology. How we will teach science? How we will teach technology? I wonder, a language like English, who has a recent literary history compared to languages like Kannada, Tamil and Punjabi, they say this is a richer language. First English poetry is Chaucer in the 14th century. He made English a language of literature. Otherwise, I thought that you can't write good poetry in English. So Chaucer wrote somewhat better poetry. They said, yes, you can write in English. And our literary history goes 1,000 years back. And they say, Kannada doesn't have terminology. And I'll show you where from the terminology comes. I opened a medical dictionary just to see whether our languages have the terms for the concepts, medicinal concepts. I utter some words: ham, haemocite, hemagogue, hamel, hemalopia. They make 19. These are 19 words which are made from ham. And you know what ham is? Ham is simply blood. Do you think that any Indian doesn't have a language for blood? Punjabi has at least 3. And all vocabulary of all languages, and Dr. Ganesh Devi told me ham is there in Sanskrit as well. And Sanskrit and English, they share common, English shares common mother with Sanskrit, like Latin. Latin and Sanskrit were sisters. How can you say that there are no roots in Sanskrit but there are in English? They are in Latin. All vocabulary of any language is created out of roots and affixes. And in the past thousands of years, no new roots are created. All new vocabulary is being created out of the old roots, like this ham. What is haemocite? Haemocite is blood cell. Each Indian language has a word for cell now. Koshika, we have koshika in Hindi and Punjabi. So haemocite means rakt koshika, that is defined. Hematoma, you know what is toma? Toma is granthi, this sort of abscess. So all Indian languages have a word for granthi. Each language, even a tribal Indian language, is as rich as English when it comes to building vocabulary. They have put these things together, roots and affixes, but there are no more roots in English that we don't have, that we cannot create like vocabulary in our languages. And one thing which has been repeated time and again, in present day world, no language will survive if it is not made of instruction. Because each child is going to school and his medium of instruction will become his primary language because he doesn't have a better knowledge of the other language. Of course, this is a handicapped generation. I say we are creating a linguistically handicapped generation through English medium. They are not good at any language. They can't be good at any language. They can't be good at the mother tongue because they have not studied it well. They can't be good at English because this is the wrong way to learn English through the English medium instruction. And English is as well in a crisis in India as the other languages are. As far as the competency of English is concerned, of course the number is increasing. And that's why it's very important that to save our language, not just for language sake, it is to save India. If this English medium instruction continued, Indian education is already ruined, it will be further ruined. We don't stand anywhere in the International Committee of Nations in education, in trade, in scientific advancement, nowhere we stand. So all these myths that English is a language of opportunity. English actually has made us handicaps, educationally, commercially, economically, in all respects. And we are very near in our doomsday if we don't say goodbye to this language policy. Finally, one more, sorry if I'm getting more time. People don't know English is declining. This may be a very sensational statement. English is declining world over. And I quote from a British Council study. You know, the role of British Council is to spread English in India, how to teach English well. And they say English is declining. Yeah. Sorry, where has it gone? Yeah. English losing monopolistic position. It's quote, English losing monopolistic position. No single language will occupy the monopolistic position in the 21st century, which English has almost achieved by the end of 20th century. It is thus clear that two trends will dominate the second wave of satellite broadcasting, and other major world languages will increase their global reach and the larger providers will localize their services. Both trends indicate a more crowded and linguistically plural landscape in 21st century. And one study was, I would like to cite that too, an article appeared in The Economist some 8-9 months back. Economist is a very prestigious British magazine. They said English are at a greater disadvantage. We said, why? They said English think that we can run our business and everything through English, but in present day world, nobody will be going to have international exchanges successfully if they didn't learn others' language. They say that English is their mother tongue, they are so good at English, they are at disadvantage because they are not learning other languages. And we think English will open the gates of heaven for us. Most of the countries have almost enacted laws now to teach other languages in the school education. Australia has made an act that each of their students should learn at least one Asian language before they pass 12th class. And these 4 Asian languages are Hindi, Bhasha Malaysia, Bhasha Indonesia and Chinese. People think that English can't serve you in the 21st century and we want to open the heaven's gate through English. I think we are living in a world of total ignorance and blindness. And we need to break through this. We need to throw these facts at the faces of the ones who don't know anything. And these people who don't know anything, they are deciding our language policies. The Language Committee for Knowledge Commission had recommended that English should be started from 4th class. But Mr. Sam Pitroda, he thought that he knew more about languages than the world's best linguists, including Dr. J. Sadeva perhaps. You were in that committee, no? But they were linguists. Udendra was there. But Sam Pitroda thought that he knew more about linguistics than Dr. Udendra Singh, who was the director of CIL and has international experience about language. So we are being led by the ignorance in the 21st century, at least as far as the language is concerned. Where we will reach, you can imagine. Thank you very much.